Often I get asked, how long should I tie it drop here? And I said, you know what, tie it, and what you end up with is what you get. I don't think it matters. If you guys don't know how to tie it, I'll go over that real briefly. It's not like we've got a big rope and overhead projector here to show. But what you want to do is tie your knot, whatever your favorite knot is. We're not going to get the knot debates, those are later, right? Okay, right, we're doing knot debates there. But what you want to do is tie your favorite knot with a little bit longer tag than maybe you would normally, and then stop. Don't cut that tag off. Just halt yourself, fight all instinct to reach over and get the nipper to do this. Don't. Trust me, the first few times you might. But take that tag in and feed it back through the top of the hook. The reason being is if you can see, by doing that, it keeps the hook up. Now in the water, this little guy here is going to float tail up a little bit. So you'll have a bait that runs parallel to the bottom. Okay? And as far as fishing this, now you want to always make sure you feel bottom of that bait. As you're feeling bottom, tapping it along, that thing's doing its job. Deadly on halibut, just as much as a dropper loop is deadly. And the reason why we like dropper loops for halibut is they're always looking up. Dropper loop, you get to see that sardine go by. Same thing here, same concept. It works really well with spotted bay bass, especially the deeper water ones, and it works really good with sand bass. We even got calicos on this rig, sculpin, and you name it. So it's just a deadly little rig, just because it just does that. It sits right at eye level for a lot of fish. Fish aren't always laying in the sand. Maybe there aren't, and even if they are, like the halibut, like I said, they're looking up.
What goes to intrusions too?
It really depends. Most of the time, it's a slow presentation. If you're wanting something a little bit faster, go with your spinner baits or your swim baits. But this one is something that you can be really diligent about, be really slow. The other reason I like it a lot is, again, because I do get a lot of folks, even adults, that either don't cast well or haven't cast a rod in years. My visitors, a lot of times they're coming in town from wherever, and they're on a convention. San Diego's a convention town, and praise the Lord, because that helps my business. But especially in these winter months, because when these guys come to town, they check in at the hotel, they get their itinerary, they open the curtains of the hotel, look out, and they're San Diego Bay. I want to go fishing. They call me. So that happens, and these folks, a lot of them, they're working hard. They don't have time to go fishing. They don't get to fish a lot. They just know they want to get out on that water. This is a great rig for that because we're drifting a lot in San Diego Bay. We're doing a lot of drift fishing. And that's a great rig because you're asking about speed. You just drop it down there, let it hit the bottom, maybe give it a little extra line, flick it over. Nature's taking over. Okay, you don't have to worry about speed. You just hold on to it. The whole idea of that rig there is don't reel it in until you got a fish. I mean, it works that well. And the best part of it is, you'll even catch the ever elusive lizard fish one
Jim, two quick questions. What kind of boat do you have, and do you use a scent on those baits?
Hey. Tommy sent you over, did it? I run a 22-foot Skeeter center console. I've been through many boats. I think Eric, you guys know, I've been through a lot of boats recently. But I've landed on this boat the last year and a half, and I liked it so much I repowered it in April. And so as long as I'm getting payments on the motors, I'll have that for a while. But it's a nice center console. It's a deep, so I can go out and run out to the islands. Of course, we get all our paperwork together. We can paddy hop trips. But yet a shallow amount that I can go out on the lakes right now, and we're playing around with bed fish. So it's a real fun boat for that. Got a nice little control motor on it, remote control. So again, when I have folks on board, a lot of times I don't even hook up the front graph. I'm back in the console watching that one, and I'm doing this. There's a control motor. You guys really get a kick out of that. It's all robotic. Hit the anchor button if you like a spot. But anyway, scent, definitely. I use uni butter. There's a lot of scents out there. I get samples from time to time. I try them all. I like them all. They're all good. I don't think there's a scent that doesn't work. You know, we wouldn't dip my warm in case of Conti sauce, save that for other things. But then again, I wouldn't dip my chips in this either. One of the reasons why I like Uni butter, because it's made locally, or at least for me, down in San Diego. A couple other reasons why I like it is, aside from the fact they give me cool jackets every once in a while. But it's a byproduct. I don't know if anybody knows the story. You know, you guys want to hear the story? Yeah. All right, okay. Several years ago, I don't know, probably 12 years now, Tommy Jones, one of the guys down at Catalina Offshore Products, he's kind of their head sales manager now. Takes care of a lot of the sales. Catalina Offshore Products at that time was just distributing fish and seafood to restaurants and retail. You know, they weren't open to the public. They are now. You can go down there and buy a bunch of clams. At that time, though, what was happening was guys were bringing in a sea urchin. They were processing the sea urchin, as we know, is called umi in Japanese restaurants and in sushi houses. But they take out like this little strip of orange meat. The rest gets tossed. Well, the guys who died to get these sea urchins, they're constantly being bombarded by fish, sheep's head, sculpin, everything else. They're trying to, you know, while these guys are plucking them off the rocks, all these fish are attracted to it. Well, Tommy likes to fish in the bays like we do. And he thought, you know what, I'm going to mash some of this stuff up, you know, and I'm going to see if it works. Started dipping his plastic baits in it, and his buddies are, Tommy, give me some of that. Before you know it, he was making it, putting in little, you know, Tupperware jars for his buddies, and now puts it in these kind of jars. The proceeds from this goes to support kids' fishing days. They'll show up with shark and a whole bunch of other types of fish meats and start slinging tacos for people at the various fundraisers. And that's all off the sale of Uni butter. So that to me, that's kind of, I don't know, kind of Cinderella-ish, but I just think that's a neat story. You know, to me, it's, like I said, it's a byproduct of something that's going to be tossed away. This stuff stinks. It's terrible. You know, the best way to use it is keep it in your pocket, your pants. I mean, it's just gross. It's gross, but it works. And like I said, it's got a cool story. I'll pass this around. You guys can see what I'm talking about. If you ever left your socks in your gym locker, but like I said, it worked. There are times, it's not a magic potion. Nothing's going to just make fish jump up and bite. You've still got to do your job. However, I have seen times where we're throwing even some of these pre-scented baits, and we still dip them in that, because even dry, those pre-scented baits sometimes need a little extra push to make it work. And this, I usually dip that, and depending on how warm the water is, or how warm it is outside, usually you can get about 6 to 10 casts before you usually dip it. If it's really warm, the stuff's going to drip right off. And you'll know too, like if we're fishing some deep water structures out off San Diego or Imperial Beach, you know, you're dropping down, the surface temp maybe 62, but down there it's a lot colder. You know, when you pull the fish up, just feel how cold they are. And you'll know when you reel it up and that stuff's coagulated on there, just how cold it is. And when it's coagulated, I mean, you can keep casting it forever, so you don't see it anymore. And so, like I said, there's a lot of good stuff out there. I believe in scent. There's a Reader's Digest version of that story, why I believe in it. Who wants to hear that? How many people here remember back in the old days when you used to have to actually get in your car to go rent a movie? Many years ago. This is when, you know, I first started in fishing bass clubs. And at that time, there was a big thing, you know, do you put worms in scent or not? You know, and I think we had real draw, we had BAM, you know, that little spray garlic stuff available. And at the time, I think Smelly Joe was just starting to come out. And yeah, SW for it. So you know, the jury was still out on scent. At that time, there was like maybe 3 or 4 products. Now there's about 20 different scent products: saltwater, freshwater, and light. So you know, in my head, I wasn't too convinced in it until this one night, my wife and I, after having a nice big dinner, you know, we had a cake we were going to get into, but we were full. Ate way too much chicken. So we decided, let's go get us a movie, which at that time was an event anyway, 2 hours staring at the wall, which one to get. we pull up to Blockbuster in a strip mall. You got KFC, you got a donut shop, you over here, you got Jack in the Box over there, and I think there was a Preston. Here we are full. Step out of the car and you smell all these restaurants. Oh man, appetite's going again. I'm ready to eat. To me, I think, why should I think like the fish? They should think like me. So I'm thinking, if I'm hungry now because I smelled something that smelled like food, chances are the fish are going to be like that. So they may have eaten. They may have just had a bunch of shad or maybe a bunch of anchovies. They smell crab nearby. Crawdad. Or urchin. Let's go grab one more bite. So that's my theory. And that's the short thing. I didn't want to, bore you guys all this long, fishing line, fishing reels. We can get into that. What kind of reels? I really don't think the fish care about big casting reels or spinning reels. I really don't. I'll go just real briefly on that, and then I'll just open up to question and answers, because that way I can talk to you guys what you want to hear about, rather than just hearing me go on and on. One of the reasons why I use